It's time now for the Premier Podcast, the official real estate video podcast of Premier Realty Group of West Tennessee. We have 3 offices to serve you in McKenzie, Paris, and Huntingdon. Online at PreRealtyGroup.com. Now, let's get started with today's Premier Podcast.
Welcome back to the Premier Podcast, the official podcast of Premier Realty Group of West Tennessee. My name is Kelly Green, Marketing Director for Premier Realty Group of West Tennessee. My co-host is Garry Wicker. He is our principal broker in the Paris office. And our special guest is Tammy.Brooks. She is a mortgage loan originator with Prime Lending of Jackson. How are you, Tammy?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Talk about Prime Lending, what it does as opposed to what a bank does.
Prime Lending, we are actually a mortgage company. We do fund our own loans. We have a huge portfolio of products where maybe a local bank wouldn't have that. So we have the capability of doing a lot of different loan programs and products than just a local bank would.
Let's talk about loans. There are many different types out there. Kind of run us through, take us through the gamut of what's available to different folks.
Okay. Well, just like pretty much every other company, we have your conventional, which is going to be, up to a 95% loan. In most cases, we can go up to 97% on a conventional loan in some circumstances. Also, we have the FHA, have VA. We also do the Tennessee housing, which has been really huge right now, especially in Jackson, Tennessee, the 38301, 38305 zip codes, where they're offering that hardest hit fund down payment assistance. It's $15,000.
And that's a grant. That's not a loan, right?
Well, it is a grant. It's written up like a second mortgage, but it's completely forgivable after 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's probably caused a shortage of inventory in our area too. So, but then, of course, in this area and other areas around here, Tennessee Housing also offers the $5,000 grant, which is still great. Mm-hmm. I mean, that'll get you in, your down payment on an FHA loan, and most of the time help with a little bit of closing costs, depending on what the sales price is.
If I'm a married guy with 2 kids and we're renting and I'm looking to purchase my first home, I'm, say, 35 years old, and I'm just trying to get out from under that rent that I'm kind of throwing away every month, what loan am I probably going to steer myself towards, or are you going to steer me towards?
It just depends on how much, if you do have a down payment, how much that down payment is. If you don't have a down payment, then we would definitely look at one of the down payment assistance programs like Tennessee Housing or the Rural Development Loan. Rural Development's a 100% loan. They will do... it's 100% of the appraised value on a property. So if the property appraises for more, then it'll do a little bit more on there to help you with your closing costs.
So there's a pretty good chance these days you could get into a home with very little, almost no money down.
And sometimes no money down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Absolutely. So, really, renting right now, you need to buy. Rates are on the rise.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
There's very little advantage to renting right now.
Right, that's absolutely true.
You can get into a home with no money down.
Right, that's true. Yeah. You talked a little bit about the 95%, the 97%. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks, when they come in, they don't understand that. Explain what a 95% loan or 97% loan actually is.
The percentage of the loan to value that we will do is based on normally the sales price, other than the rural development loan, where they'll go off the appraised value. So when you're purchasing a home, whatever loan that you're getting, it will be a percentage of the actual sales price. So if the sales price were $100,000 on a conventional loan, then we would do 95 to 97% of the sales price, which means that your loan would be $95,000 or $97,000.
So the homeowner would actually come up with the additional $5,000 or the additional $3,000, whatever the loan to value percentage is there.
Right. And the difference between a conventional loan and an FHA loan just basically is most of the time on a conventional loan, that money has to be your money that you have saved and you've put in your account. There are a couple of different loan programs that are conventional that offer more flexibility, but most of the time the conventional is going to be that. When you get into the FHA loans, that's when you have more flexibility with your 3.5% down payment, which can come from a gift. It can come from one of the grant programs and things like that.
It can even come from the seller.
Not the down payment.
Not the down payment.
But the
right.
closing costs can.
Right.
Yes, the closing costs can. On the FHA loan, the seller can actually pay up to 6% of your closing costs and your prepays.
Right.
On a conventional loan, normally it's just 3%.
Right.
Gotcha. Does Prime Lending offer a VA loan?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
And that's, if people don't know what that is for veterans. And with Fort Campbell being so close, that's something that could be very beneficial.
Right. VA is a wonderful loan, too. You know, it's 100%. No mortgage insurance, which is huge. Private mortgage insurance is, it's just required if you don't pay 20% down. And it can be pretty costly and so VA, you know, is a wonderful loan. Of course, you know, private mortgage insurance does allow people to buy that don't have, you know, the 20% down.
And Gary, we've talked about this before. I think we talked about it in a podcast about a week and a half ago. It's very important that you go see your lender first.
Yes.
Before you settle on your
right.
home.
I think we basically said when you walk in the door, the first question we're going to ask is, are you working with another agent? And then the second is, do you have a loan officer? Or are you working with somebody to get your loan? So talk a little bit about the difference in pre-qualification letter and a
pre-approval
letter, yes.
Absolutely. A pre-qualification letter basically means that I've talked to you over the phone and you have given me the information. And based on the information that you have given me, it looks like you qualify for a loan.
Okay, if I get pre-qualified and I see you and you say you're pre-qualified, then can I go see Gary and start looking for that home, or is that too early?
No. In some cases, in my opinion, you need to be pre-approved before you start looking for a home. You know, a pre-qualification to me is, yes, I've talked to you over the phone, and we need to go further. We need to get further into it. So I talk to you on the phone, and I just do a quick analysis of, you know, your income, your debt, and things like that, and I look at your credit. As far as your credit score looks, we're good. As far as your income and your assets and your debt-to-income ratio, everything looks good. Then we need to go into the next step of we're ready to go into a pre-approval, which is when we actually put all the information, you know, into the computer, run it through the automated decision engine, and that's going to give us out the pre-approval.
Obviously, a pre-qualification can be done over the phone. Can a pre-approval be done by phone and email?
Absolutely. Documents, technology these days, I mean, you can pretty much, somebody showed me yesterday that they had an app on their phone that was like an actual scanner. They took a picture, it cropped it automatically, and it is sent by email in a PDF file. Yeah. So absolutely, I mean, if you've got a smartphone, you can pretty much scan your documents from home, email them straight to me. I can review them. So yeah, pretty much everything can be done over the phone.
But once you see a credit score, is that pretty much a telltale sign of whether or not they're going to be pre-approved, or is that just one piece of it?
That's one piece of
it.
You know, you can have a 750 credit score, but then your debt-to-income ratio be just completely out of whack, which debt-to-income ratio is exactly what it says it is. It is your total debt and your total income, and if that number is too high, then a lot of times, no, you still cannot be approved. But in that case, we can tell you, okay, well, you know, looking at this, you know, you need to work on getting this one paid off or this one paid off.
Yeah, that was going to be my next statement, my next question to you. If we send somebody in that needs a little help with their credit, you can work them through that and give them some measures to do that would help them get their, not necessarily their score up, but get everything off of their credit report that would help them qualify at that point.
Absolutely, and we can actually do credit rescoring. So we've got a program that we can run them through, say that they need a 640 credit score to go Tennessee housing, and they've got a 610 middle score. We can enter their information into this program and say, hey, we need 10 more points on this credit score. And it'll tell us, you know, line for line, exactly what needs to be done in order to potentially raise that score. And it spits out, and it's amazing to me. It just comes right back and it says, doing these things in order could raise your credit score by blank many points. And it could say 20 when you only need 10. And I have done that 4 times since February, and it has raised their score every time.
Is there an app for that? Is there an app where I can raise my credit score?
No, you probably can't do it on your own, but you can definitely call me and I can do it.
But that is one of those things that, if if you're working either on credit score or working on cleaning up your credit, when you go to a loan officer and the loan officer tells you that these are the steps to take, it is important to follow those steps and do that, because, if you don't, you're going to be right back in the same shape that you are, and it's going to take you that much longer. If they lay out something for you, a program for you, and basically say, if you'll do these things in 3 months, 2 months, whatever, then you can come back and you can qualify at that point.
And it could be as simple as, I had one the other day. It was amazing. He had 2 credit cards that had a 0 balance. And I think we needed 11 points. And when I ran it through, it said increase one of your credit cards to a balance of $10. So they wanted him to charge $10 on his credit card. Now, that doesn't mean go out and charge credit cards up, because you don't need to do that.
Right.
But sometimes it can be as simple as one little bitty thing.
And in today's world, that's a Coke and a candy bar.
You got that right.
That's true.
That's absolutely right. But I mean, yes, don't hesitate. If you've got a borrower, or, you're wanting to buy a house and your credit score is not good, give us a call, because I've been doing this almost 20 years, and I can tell you this. The tools that we have now, they're amazing, because when this tool first came out, I was like, we can do what? Mm-hmm. Because years ago, you'd pull somebody's credit, and if the credit score wasn't where it needed to be, you were just like, I'm sorry.
Right.
We couldn't tell them what they
needed. And that's what
I
was going to say, too. I think the perception is still out there from that old time where you walk in and you sit down in front of somebody and they look at your credit score and go, sorry, can't help you, and you're on the way out.
Right. And you don't know why.
Right.
And that's so frustrating, because, being in the business as long as I have, I remember when I'm just like, I'm sorry. We can guess what might help you, but we don't know for sure. And then sometimes some of the things that they did might hurt them.
We're talking with Tammy.Brooks, loan originator with Prime Lending of Jackson. If I'm in Paris and you're in Jackson, can I still work with you? Absolutely.
I'll come up here if we can't do it over the phone and by email, fax, whatever. We'll make it work. I work nights, weekends. We'll get it taken care of.
Gotcha. What's the best way to get in touch with Tammy.Brooks?
Probably on my cell phone. That number is 731-613-0338.
All right, simple as that. Thanks for being on the podcast today.
Well, thank y'all for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Tammy.Brooks with Prime Lending of Jackson. That is the Premier Podcast for today.